I remember getting married young, thinking, wow, this is life. We were living, having children. Our children were much younger. And I mean, you heard of people losing spouses and, spouses getting really sick, but you never really think of it happening to you. And then May 23rd, 2015 came. And it was a day that really changed my perspective on taking things for granted. We had just laid his brother down to rest. We were, at his brother's funeral, and we were leaving the funeral, and it was time for us to go. And I remember him walking over to his family, and as he was saying his goodbyes and doing whatever they do, I remember this big swarm of bees coming over, hovering over the area, and it was so many bees. A few of us ran and jumped into our cars, and as the bees went by, they went closer to the area where T and his family was standing, and I had jumped out the car. And my next thought was, Terrence is about to get stung. So I came from around the front of the car to the back, and Terrence at this point was, he was a little ways away. It was about maybe 100 to 150 feet away. And I noticed that he had turned to me, and I could tell he was looking at me, and I could also tell he was trying to reach me. And boom, he just collapsed. I can't even tell you all the next seconds, moments, other than it was just horrific. I remember running to him, but it was like as I was running, it was like I was getting nowhere. I was running as fast as I could naturally, but my mind I just couldn't get to him fast enough. And when I got to him, his family had already, his other brothers had already like ran over to him, and they were like trying to pick him up, and there was nothing, just there wasn't anything. And I was screaming like, call 911, call 911. And everybody was confused. There was a whole bunch of confusion. So I myself tried to call 911, and I was so upset, I couldn't even get 911 out. I was down like, I just couldn't get it out. Finally, when I got them on the phone, I was trying to explain to them where we were, because we were actually in Jersey. And by this time, Terrence's heart had started to beat again. He was here, but he was not here. So he couldn't talk. He couldn't do anything. Only thing I remember him doing was moaning really, really loud. And everybody around me was like, he's okay, he's okay. And I was saying, he's not okay. He's not talking. And they were like, just get him some water. Let's sit him up. Let's something. And I could just look into his eyes, and I could just tell he was in agony. Whatever was going on with him. And I could tell he would pierce at me a little bit. He would stare straight into my eyes, and a tear, would just fall from his eyes. And he was just moaning. Just kept moaning really, really loud. So by this time, the ambulance had showed up, and they came out, and they were asking me all these questions, and I was, they were like, is he sick? And I'm like, no, he's not sick. He's 33. We were 33 at the time. They were asking me, was he sick, if he did drugs or anything, and I was like, no. They was like, so he just walked out the funeral and he just collapsed, and I'm like, yes. So the ambulance, the paramedics, they bent down to him, they were asking him his name, and he couldn't respond, and he was just moaning. Oh, he was just moaning and like moving, like just over and over and over. And my spirit just knew that he just, wherever it was going on, that he was in pain. And they would say, "Okay, Terrence, are you ready? We're about to strap you onto the gurney. Are you ready? We're about to roll you to one side. Are you ready?" I just kept remembering them asking, "Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?" For every little thing they were telling him they were doing. So that lasted for about 30 minutes. He wouldn't respond or anything. So what happened was they decided to transport him to the hospital. So once he got loaded into the ambulance, I remember the paramedic banging on the side of the door, and he's like, "Let's go, we're ready." And when we got into the ambulance, he really started going crazy. He was going crazy so bad they had to strap him down, his head down, his chest. He was just trying to get up, but he wasn't talking or anything. He was just like, just like so unsettled. And they were like, "Well, what does he like music?" They was like, "We need you to calm down. Are you okay?" And they played this music for him, and it didn't work. Nothing worked. So we got to the hospital, and nobody knew any answers. Like, the doctors didn't have an answer. Nobody knew anything. So flash forward to about 4 hours. This happened for about 4 or 5 hours. He was just moaning, and his skin was hot to touch, and tears would just fall from his eyes. And the only thing I could think in the hospital was, how am I, at 33 years old, going to process and move forward with a husband that is fully disabled, 4 children? I just didn't know how to process that. So I was just sitting in the hospital room, and I'm just praying and just waiting, just to hear, because they have no answers why his heart stopped. They don't know. And they took him away for an X-ray about the 4.5 to 5 hour mark. And as soon as that was completed, I was sitting in the room, and they wheeled him back in the room. And I noticed that the doctor had said to him, "Terrence, I need you to move your arms so I can wheel you back to the wall." And he did it. And I was like, "Okay." I said, "I'll take it. If he can just understand, fine, I'll take that." And the next seconds, the doctor left, and he popped up, and he looked straight at me. And he was like, "Candace." And I was like, "Yes." And I ran over to him, and he's pulling on my clothes, and he's touching my hair, and he's just all over me, pulling on my cheeks and everything. And he's like, "Is this you? Is this you?" And I'm like, "Yes, it's me, it's me." And he was like, "Candace, I just came back from hell." The hairs stood up on my body, because where he was, I can 100% see on the natural side that he was in agony.
Now, hearing that again from her, it just, there's no words. Ain't no words. I would call it life after death, because now that what I know now is, if you're saved and you got salvation and you got God on your side, then your soul, I'm guessing, just will live forever in a glorified way. But in hell, you're alive. Like, you're alive. The same way you left Earth is the same way you're going to be in hell. And that's where I went to. I started at my brother's funeral. We was hanging out, just a normal day. I went out to go say bye to my family. When I went out to go say bye to my family, I felt weird. I felt different that day. Not almost like something was going to happen, but you know, that eerie feeling. I felt weird. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna roll. You know what I mean? My wife was ready to go. I was ready to go. I was gonna roll, call him later. But then I felt the inside of my body like turn to waves. Like if you threw something in a pond or a puddle and you see waves, that inner wave, that's exactly what happened. This is where it got crucial for me. When that happened, I looked around to my family for help or saying to myself, is it me, or you know what I mean? Am I tripping, or like what's going on with me? I couldn't understand it. They were all laughing around me, this, that, and the third. And I looked at my wife because now I'm really panicking now. Because I really don't know what's going on with me. I have no control. So I went to try and yell at her, like yell out to her. And as soon as I tried to yell out to her, she was like right in front of me. She faded like 10 feet away from me. Like zoom, like 10 feet away from me. And that I can't even explain that feeling, how that was. It was like what's, like, oh my God, what's going on? That's the first thing anybody would say. Oh my God, what is going on? So I tried to yell at her and I couldn't talk. I couldn't speak. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't do anything. Nothing came out. So when nothing came out and I knew I didn't have control over my own body, I looked up and did the natural thing, the normal thing that anybody would do. I looked up and said, God help me. And as soon as I said that, everything went black. Everything went black. And when everything went black, I mean nothing in sight, no words, no nothing. You hear nothing. Everything is dark as this shirt I got on me. Then the countdown happened, a countdown happened from 10 to 1, like a rocket ship countdown. And when it got to the last three numbers, 3, 2, 1, everything turned white. It was the brightest white I have ever seen. And my life flickered across my face. The entire life, like a deck of cards getting laid out. The entire life went across my face. And when I realized what it was, I still was confused. I still was trying to convince myself that, okay, I'm tripping, I'm going through an emotional state right now, something going on, but I'm going to get it together. But it wasn't no getting it together. And when I realized that, I said to myself, did I just check? Like, did I just die? Just like that. And as soon as I said, did I just die? I dropped. I dropped in the biggest, deepest hole that you can ever imagine. And that's when I knew I was in hell. Now, you hear all these teachings where hell is fire, flames, and stuff like that. I would say I see it a little differently because my hell wasn't like that at first. When I got there, it was just loneliness. And on top of that, I had this smell, this horrific smell. It's like, oh, I don't even want to talk about that. The smell is so, you can't put a name on what that is. But you smelled it so strong. And it was just like, and then I said, am I in hell? Is this hell? Because, like I said, it wasn't no flames or nothing like that when I got there. As soon as I said that, I was laying on a cold gurney. Metal gurney. And these things came in. And when these things came in, they started strapping me with these bands. But the bands was burning. Like they was set, drenched in fire. And when they strapped me down, they asked me, was I all right? Was I ready? So I'm screaming, no, I'm not ready. I'm not. Like, what's going on? I'm trying to prepare myself for all the stories and stuff that I heard in church about hell to see what can I do. Because now I'm realizing that's where I am. And it plays in your mind because when you're dead in hell, you remember everything. So the teachings and all that played in my mind. This is your eternal life. You'll be here forever. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready. And it kept burning me and burning me and burning me. So I was squirming, trying to break out of it and everything. It wasn't nothing I could do. Then these demons, and I say demons because I know now, they sounded like my family and friends. They were trying to talk to me and convince me that I was going to be all right. They like, you listen to music, they start playing rap music that I like to listen to and everything. I'm like, no, I don't want to go to where y'all trying to take me. As they started playing it, they was like, you ready? They willed me in this thing. So the whole time I'm burning and trying to talk at the same time. Imagine that. And while the bands was burning me and trying to talk, they willing me away. I got to the center. Let me tell y'all. I got to the center of this dark place. Laying on your back, looking up. There wasn't no up. Like, it's as far as your eyes can see. Like, we can go outside and look at the sky and see the sky, see the stars. This tunnel went so far, you couldn't see it no more. That it was just all a tunnel of caves and rooms and stuff like that. So at that point of me laying on my back, that's what I thought it was. Until they rolled me into my room. When I got into my room, I was screaming and screaming and screaming because the band was just constantly burning me. And they banging on this door, asking me was I ready. And I'm telling them no, As they was telling me no, they said, okay. Somebody said, okay, let's play them some music. When they turned on this rap music, the flame that you see, like, I don't know if you ever seen a body go through a place when it's getting cremated. That's what they had me in. The flame that you see started at my feet. And it was melting at my feet. Melting my feet all the way to my knees, to my chest, got to my throat, to my face, till I passed out. And I thought it was over. Until all of that burnt on me came back on me again. And they constantly did that over and over and over again. And I was just crying. And every time I would cry and scream out for God to help me get out wherever I'm at, tears would, like fire, it would burn my face, burning the skin off my face, so I couldn't even cry. So when I was laying there and I was crying,